Keira Knightley in a period piece. I said, oh, I'm sure.
Likely place for her to be. A Joe Wright period piece, nonetheless.
And by period piece, I mean all of these Russian people are British.
And that's my favorite genre of period piece. Not a single person trying for an accent. I love it.
Honestly, I was mad about it for like 5 seconds, but then I was like, I bet if he made everyone do Russian accents, it would just be worse. Like, these are 100%. A bunch of fucking British people. Like, I get 100%. It. Mr. Joe Wright, you get the pass from me on this one, but I will say, if you're adapting a Tolstoy novel, maybe one could have had a little Russian flair, but then it would have thrown the whole thing off.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know if you ever watched The Great, but it's all Russian and everything like that. But yeah, Elle Fanning, Nicholas Hoult, it is fantastic. I would highly recommend. They're all Brits. Every single person there is British. Not a Russian accent.
Even the German accent is closer than the British accent for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is neither here nor there. Oh, hi. Welcome to The Swamp. It's our podcast. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
My name is Dara, and I can't do a Russian accent, so I can't say shit.
I'm Emily. I got nothing. Do not ask me to do an accent, an impression. I got nothing in the bank.
I've been running a D&D campaign that's like vampire themed, so the whole book is very like Eastern European like names and references, and I haven't got to the point where I have to be the titular vampire yet, but I'm like trying to work on it. I'm like in my car being like, I want to suck your blood, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to do that in front of my friends, like shit.
Is it are you trying to really make it your own and not take on the Nosferatu
I could never damage my vocal cords the way that Mr. Bill Skarsgård did in getting no.
Which,
not
speaking
me.
of, he's credited in this movie.
Yeah, where was he?
I did not clock him once.
Because
didn't clock him 1,000 people to clock.
Right.
Didn't see him.
Yeah. Jump scare after jump scare, but I had my little IMDb up and I was like, when is he gonna get here? He must have just been in the background of a fucking ballroom scene or something.
Hard to say.
He was actually Nosferatu. He visited Anna Karenina in the night and offered her to quell her horniness, and she said, I got it taken care of. I'm gonna ruin my life, but don't worry about it.
I'm not sure. No, I honestly don't think that he would be any match for her, honestly.
Yeah, even Nosferatu, even Count Orlok could not match her freak, okay?
I've never seen a gaslight gatekeep girl boss as hard as, not to, like that phrase is, very circa 3 years ago, but it feels very on point for Anna Karenina.
Well, actually, with one of the queens who would self-identify as the gaslight gatekeep girl boss, was a jump scare for me in this, Miss Emerald Fennel.
Yes!
Why were you here, miss?
Oh.
What?
She was here.
I forget she's a working actress as well. I often forget since her,
I don't know about working.
Well, at one point she was working.
Yeah, sure.
She was in this.
No, absolutely. Her. I would also think that, especially sort of more during this era, Cara Delevingne falls into this category.
Yes, I wrote Emerald Fennel jump scare, and then I crossed it out, and I said, no, Cara Delevingne. That was the one that got me. No speaking, not a line. They said, you can sit and be fierce.
They literally said, smirk, and then you're going to ride Aaron Taylor-Johnson for about 30 seconds.
Every woman's worst nightmare, Cara Delevingne taking your man in 2012. Every 6th grade girl's worst nightmare in 2012. But actually, it was more like I want her to take me away.
Yeah, honestly. I don't want to get into the meat and potatoes of it, considering that this is Ensemble Cast Month.
No, it's not.
We didn't hear faces. We just did Ensemble Casts. Fuck.
So I would say that the Venn diagram is overlapping here as we transition.
This is how we got to here.
certainly is an ensemble cast month, and I think this was a leftover suggestion from last month that then we used as inspiration because I was like, let's do period pieces. So we're gonna do some period pieces this month. So if you have any recommendations, we still haven't really picked all of what we're doing, and we want to try to switch it up. So don't suggest we do Pride and Prejudice because that's just the same movie as this. So I feel like we're going to try to pick some different eras, to do period pieces for. But we would be remiss if we didn't do a Joe Wright because we have not done Pride and Prejudice before, but we've done Atonement. So at some point we're going to have to go through the Joe Wright trifecta, which is this movie, Pride and Prejudice, and Atonement, which are just his period piece. He just owned the genre for that 10-year span.
Yeah. And well, here's obviously each single one of them with Keira Knightley in it.
Of course.
I was gonna say, would you have considered this part of the trifecta though? Because I feel like, everyone knows Pride and Prejudice, and I think Atonement probably has snuck up there in recent times, but I don't know that Anna Karenina is honestly on a lot of people's radars.
Well, yeah, I had never seen it other than the Tumblr gif of Aaron Taylor Johnson lighting the cigarette that everyone on Tumblr was just circle jerking to that for forever. And I could replay that in my mind on cue if needed, but the rest of the movie, I didn't even know what movie it was from. Hot guy with mustache lighting cigarette gif search. That was all I cared about. But no, I had never seen it. I guess I would just say trifecta as in Joe Wright is the through line. These are his big three, I would argue. But yeah, I would say that this is probably the least known or least popular of those three. I would definitely agree with you on that. Because I had never seen it, but you are a fan, right?
Yeah, I think I watched this maybe during the pandemic. I really can't pinpoint when I watched this, but I knew I loved it. And I think a lot of that is in the design of this film. I think it's brilliant and gorgeous, and we can get into it. But it's all set on a stage, essentially. Mostly, they can't do all of it, but it's really done sort of as this production within a production, or not even. I don't know how to describe it exactly. But I thought it was gorgeous, obviously, and it certainly left an impression. And I will fall for Keira Knightley in a pretty dress, and this stacked cast. I remember watching this during a period of time where I was really into Alicia Vikander's work. And so I think that's what brought me to watching this.
Interesting. I would have bet that you were about to say Matthew McFadyen, that you were in a bit of a secession moment.
At this point in time, he is the one that I was here for this round. Give
me some Tom Wamsgams.
Oh my God, he hammed it up in this. He's the star of the show for me. But yeah, you had never seen this. Give me your first impressions at the very least.
Yeah, immediately the whole staging of it and the set design just knocked me away to the point where I was like, I don't even really care that sometimes I am not following the story. Yeah. I had to have a plot summary pulled up to I had to pause it and kind of skim and be like, what? Wait, I'm sorry. What's going on? What's good? Who's that? But I was like, I get it. Cause it's a 1,000-page book about Russian high society. So I'm like, I get that there's no way for you to fully distill that down and make it easily accessible. Sure. But I love that they were like, even if you're confused, it's just pretty to look at. Don't worry, baby. Don't worry, baby girl. You don't need to know anyone's names. They're all named the same thing.
Exactly.
Just look at Keira Knightley's pretty dress and look at the beautiful scenery. I love, especially when they would move backstage and up into the rafters and utilizing the full theater building. I thought was just so fucking cool.
It's just the best transitions I've ever seen in a movie ever. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the long, continuous, sweeping, panning shots. And suddenly there's an ice rink in the theater building. So cool. And I had read some people thought that this was overly stylized.
No,
and also
I think this is ahead of its time.
And I was I completely disagree because I think you have to over stylize it if you're gonna try to do all this. Yeah, you gotta give me some sort of thing to look at. Also, sort of the gimmick of it all.
if we're high societying it, like, I feel like that's the whole thing. It's big and complex, and there's a shit ton of moving parts.
And
it's absurd.
The greater metaphor of, like, that they are all being very performative for high society. Duh, and it's on a stage. It's like they're all really pretending. And then I saw some comments of people being like, well, they don't stick with it the whole time, especially in the third act. Like, they do a lot of shots out to the countryside. And I was like, yeah bro. Because Levin is the foil character for Anna Karenina, and he's the one who can get away from it. Yeah. So it makes sense that we get his house out in the countryside because he's the only one who's actually willing to, like, not be performative for all that shit. So I didn't think that those were good criticism. I loved the theater of it all.
Yes, yeah, no. I'm happy to hear your take and, like, that you did need all of those characters pulled up, because I think this is maybe the third time I've seen this movie in my life. So obviously, like, you know, I know the story, I know what's going on, and I feel like I got more out of it this watch than in past ones, because it is kind of hard to follow. It's pretty hard to follow.
I actively was making, like, a character family tree as I was watching so I could remember.
Well, because everyone is everyone else's cousin as well.
and everyone's a princess. Everyone's a fucking I'm like,
it doesn't mean anything.
I was gonna say, is there actual royalty going on here? We just refer every woman who's hot is a princess. Like, I was not following that. I think that there's a lot of political and religious stuff from the book that heavily got cut from the movie because we just simply do not have the fucking time and bandwidth to get into all that. Like, it has to be sort of that surface level love story element, and we just gotta get rid of all that, because I was trying to see book movie differences, and I guess a lot of the stuff that got cut was internal monologues, which give us a way more insight to these characters and apparently also make them way more unlikable. Like, everyone in this is so fucked. Because at certain points, I'm like, I get that it's supposed to be like, you know, she's doing infidelity and she's kind of on the fritz, and we don't maybe back her 100%. And like, everyone has their flaws. It's a very, like, flawed character movie. But apparently in the book, when you read it, you're like, oh God, all of you are terrible people.
Literally Russian Succession.
yeah, right.
No, I also found myself wondering that this watch, because obviously you sort of get that baseline, you know, infidelity. Aaron Taylor Johnson is so sexy. He is undeniable to Keira Knightley. But yeah, I feel like they did what they could with it, but I definitely was left wanting a bit more, because I'm like, girl, the sex can't be that good. Like, you can't, like, bombing your life like that is one thing if there's, like, feelings involved and everything like that. All we really get is a lot of physicality, and I'm like, this is just the first man who has touched her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do wonder, I bet in the book we get more of, like, maybe, like, he's the only person who understands her, or like her desire to break from this society is like this greater thing where by her acting out, it's her, like, rejecting these values that she doesn't connect with. Or also, I believe in the book a lot of things about, like, her struggles with motherhood too, like, and being a wife and a mother and feeling boxed in that way, and this was her way to escape that. Whereas in this movie, I felt like she kind of she loved her kid, and that kind of...
Her kid was the worst actor in this movie.
Oh, I give him a break. He had, like, 4 lines. He did not have too many scenes, but Sirosha, you get a pass from me.
Not me.
Not...
Listen, I get it. You are a child. This is not on the child himself. Girl, this is on the casting director. Just what anyone that's a little less robotic, please. But we can talk casting directors later, because or now the Beatles biopics have been fully confirmed.
Yeah, which I feel like it's been soft confirmed for, like, what, 7 calendar years now? Like, What was the only thing that was up in the air was George, and I knew that God is out to punish me, so I knew what was going to happen. So it's no news to me. I do agree. I'm like, what? Where was the art of casting an unknown?
I'm pissed.
Where was the art? I would have loved if they cast like actual musicians. I'm sure all of these men are competent and will be able to learn for the movies. Like they seem like boys who are going to put the work in or whatever, but I would have loved some unknowns. I just would have loved a bit more. The concept of this is so different and creative, but it just seems like they're doing such a blockbuster, we want to make money off of this route that I just can't respect it. It's also a Beatles thing, so what the who the fuck cares? Of course it was going to be corporate sellout fucking bullshit. It's a Beatles movie.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or rather, 4 Beatles movies. For those who don't know, they're going to make... So is it all the same director, or do they have different directors?
Yes, I think it's all the same director.
And are they going to simultaneously film these 4 Beatles movies?
I'd have to think, because there's going to have to be a lot of overlap.
I guess. I would hope that they're doing, like, different time periods, though. Like, I hope it's not 4 Beatles movies about the same time of the Beatles. That would fucking suck.
I doubt it. No, I'm sure it all takes probably different routes and everything. I wish it was all 4 different directors.
That would have been cool. If you live under a rock, what they're going to do is they're making 4 Beatles movies, biopics for each Beatle, but they're going to release them all at the same time. So you could go to the theaters and see the John, Paul, Ringo, and George movies, respectively, and do with that what you will, I guess. And they just announced the casting is that Harris Dickinson is going to be John Lennon, fucking...
Paul Mescal is Paul.
Paul Mescal is going to be Paul McCartney, Sabrina Carpenter's fuck-ass ex-boyfriend.
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan, who honestly I thought was going to be the one that they squeaky shoved him away after, just like, not that he's done anything that like awful, but just like
I just find him,
his public image is kind of in the dumps at the moment.
Yeah, I just find him irritating. So.
And Joseph Quinn is going to be George Harrison, and that's and we've really locked that in. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
I don't know. Not to break. I feel like we talked about this for the last couple of months because it has been on the radar. But yeah, no, I think just like it would have been so easy to actually cast people that look like these musicians. I don't think one of these boys looks like who they're about to portray, except for Barry Keoghan's nose. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Well, they're all like white and British. I mean, Barry is Irish, but they're all like white British men. So they got that down. And I do think Harris Dickinson has the sort of lean, the slender features of John Lennon. And I think maybe once they really get them wigged and costumed up, it'll be a bit more.
We'll see. Yeah.
Realistic, but I don't give a fuck. Whatever.
There's a way to cast your movie with plenty of stars because they did it here. They did it for Anna Karenina, and it didn't take me out for 1 second.
In what way? What do you mean? The fact that they're all British, or just like
no? I think
none of them had iPhone face, or
I guess just that I think that this was I think that the stardom associated with like this Beatles one, which again it's a fuck ass Beatles thing, I guess, but like it's gonna be like I'm gonna be watching that and being like, yeah, that's Harris Dickinson under there, you know what I mean? But watching Anna Karenina, I'm like, that's not Jude Law, that's my new favorite cock.
Fucking Alexi 2.
Yes, Alexi. Okay, is he Alexi 2 or is he Alexi 1? Because that's the real question. 1,
but then it switched. He becomes Alexi 2 real fucking fast. It took me roughly 45 minutes to realize that they were both named Alexi.
Well, because they also get referred to by like a handful of different names.
Their last names, and he's Karenin and she's Karenina, which also I'm a little slow, and that took me a second. I was like, oh, the surnames, and yeah, he's Vronsky, but he's Alexei Vronsky. A lot of big surname, nickname use.
And again, everyone's a princess.
Right. Or like, yeah, a politician, high society. But no, yeah, again, we never get the specifics of what anyone actually does. Like, everyone's always talking about Jude Law and how he's like doing really great political work for Russia. And I'm like, first of all, what? And second of all, is it actually good? Because if the rich people think it's good, that means it's probably bad, right? Like, I would have liked actually a little bit more context of like what he was actually advocating for or like working towards, because this was a very complicated political time in Russian history, but it's entirely glossed over to be like, and that's why everyone's really rich, and that's why we get to have caviar and oysters every night. Like, okay.
No, I will say this did make me a little intrigued. I was like, maybe I'll read Anna Karenina. I'll never in my life will I actually, but I would like to know like a little bit more of the ins and outs of it.
I mean, a lot of people do say it's like a life-changing book, that it's like really obviously dense and complicated, but that it's like, it's amazing. But it's 1,000 pages. And I think it's probably very much like... I can barely do
300 these days, thank you.
I'm working through my YA Hunger Games book right now. Slowly chipping away at the Haymitch prequel. I'm like,
putting in the work.
I'm not trying to pick up War and Peace or anything like that.
No. But yeah, should we give the I mean,
yeah. Well, it's basically this like story of high society and this budding love triangle. Anna Karenina, our titular girl, Keira Knightley, she is married to Jude Law, who's this older politician. We know by his receding hairline that he's apparently undesirable. He loves to schedule sex and follow the rules. That's what his whole deal is.
He is big on a condom, that's for sure.
He brings out the condom box and says, let's get down to business. She's like, I'm counting my strokes. This will be over in exactly 47 seconds. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And she then goes to visit her brother, Steva, played by Matthew McFadyen, who has just cheated on his wife.
Oh, yeah, he is throwing his dick around.
And she's there basically to say to the wife, hey, I know my brother's a fuck, but you love him, right? And you got kids together, so don't be a bitch and don't overreact to this, because do you know what happens when bitches overreact to getting cheated on? They get thrown to the streets. So you should just pull your shit together and realize that you forgiving him is your optimal situation.
We start off strong with the gaslighting.
Right, yeah.
We really jump in.
And it is all motivated by finance and status and gender roles, obviously. The whole topic of divorce or the power that a woman has with her own sexuality and marital status is like the core of this whole fucking thing. Yeah. But while she's there out in, she lives in St. Petersburg and she goes to Moscow. They're going between these two cities.
It's something like that.
They're going between these two cities a lot. And so Matthew McFadyen's wife's sister is Alicia Vikander.
Kitty.
And she's
Princess Kitty.
She's freshly 18. She's about to make her debut on the scene.
Literally a porcelain doll. I will say, whoever cast her in this, perfect. Yeah.
Wait, can I drop a bomb on you right now, though? That was supposed to be Saoirse Ronan.
Oh!
And the filming schedule was so long that she was actually able to take 2 other movies in the time it would have taken to do this one. And she was like, I can star in 2 or I can be a side character in 1. But I think the 2 movies, I think it was like The Host and something else, like 2 things that are not. I'm like, girl, you probably should have gone for Anna Karenina. But I thought Alicia Vikander was perfect. I thought she was phenomenal.
Literally came fluttering down like a butterfly.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm Donald Gleason, I will say, he does freak me out a little bit how into her he is.
Well, yes. And because I do think the implication is, like, he's also, like, a little older, too, right?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know.
Which is nothing crazy for, like, 1870 whatever.
Yeah, but so he is Konstantin Levin, that's Donald Gleason. He's best friends with Matthew McFadyen, and he basically is like, I want to marry your sister-in-law. And he's like, well, yeah, of course. Everyone knows that that's going to happen. You basically already own her, bro. Go for it. And he goes and is like, hey, I would like you to be my wife. And she's like, I am actually a hot ticket, and you are but a farmer. Apparently, he's like a land-owning, he is also of high status, but he his whole thing is that he actually likes to go out and do the farming with the laborers,
he
which is like
morals.
It's like appears to be more like lowbrow, and like the way he dresses, he doesn't really like to get all the pomp and circumstance of high society, which is why we get the shots of him outside of the fucking theater. Duh.
It's implied like his father like owned slaves, and I think he like freed these men who were slaves to his father, sort of thing. So.
Which I also think the main thing that was cut from book to movie is his storyline. Levin gets like almost equal screen time as Anna Karenina because it is this duality, and we get a lot of like his morals about working and laborers and the political implications of that. Like, again, I think those are some big political concepts that aren't as easy to visually display as a love triangle, so they kind of just squashed him and made his whole thing about his desire for Kitty and his chasing of Kitty. But I would have been more interested to see about what the political implications of like agriculture and laboring is in 1870s Russia, because I'm sure that was important. But then the Aaron Taylor Johnson of it all, he shows up.
Big Dick like, Aaron comes walking in.
He's like this cavalry, like war soldier guy. But he's just really hot, basically. He's like young and hot.
Exactly.
Big dick energy, and Kitty thinks that the two of them have kind of got something going on, that they've been hanging out, they've been doing the waltz, and she's feeling it, and she's like, I'm gonna turn you down, Donald Gleason, because I've been seeing this guy, and I think that this is a more opportune marriage arrangement, and so they go to this ball and they dance, but then Keira Knightley catches his eye and they waltz in a way that is so erotic that everyone in the room knows that they're about to do infidelity. Like, they do three step, and everyone's like, oh fuck, his dick is out.
It's the way he like, I must say, Aaron Taylor Johnson moves with such grace, dude. Like, I would love to see him in fruitier little pieces like this.
It's over though.
It's over. I know that ship has sailed.
A new Supreme has risen. It was Timothée Chalamet, but I think maybe Timothée Chalamet is going to get usurped pretty soon as the baby girl, the big doe-eyed baby girl, a pretty boy up on the scene. But ATJ did do his due diligence, and he served us right during his reign. But I do think that's in the past.
Yeah, no. But it was also like, I mean, it's sort of implied in this. I mean, I would love to hear how you read it, actually, though, because I mean, the big dance sequence is like, I mean, it's the big dance sequence, but they have Alicia Vikander dancing with like different, like basically she goes through like this rotation of men in it while like Keira Knightley and Aaron Taylor Johnson are dancing. Did you take that as like they've just danced the entire night together, or that it's just sort of like, okay, or like part of the dance, you know what I mean? Like, were those two attached at the hip, or was it literally just that erotic that they were his dick is already in her mouth?
I felt like it was more like Kitty doesn't even know who she's dancing with because she's looking at the two of them. Because to me, it was only the one dance, but it's because everyone's looking at the two of them. She's like, I don't even know who I'm with. It could be anyone I've met tonight, but she's. Sure. And I guess also, again, I'm acting like I read the book. I read the Wikipedia of the book, but I guess also in this scenario, she is almost equally as enchanted by Anna as she is by Vronsky. That when Anna comes in, she's almost like, oh my god, I can't compete. Like, look at her. And it was like she is equally as enchanted by her and him and how they are together, basically. So that's also maybe my dual watching Wikipedia scanning maybe influenced my read of that scene as like she was also so enchanted, and that's why she just like she gives up. She's basically like, yeah, I'm cooked, I'm fucked.
I do think Alicia Vikander does portray that, like, devastation so well in that scene. Like, that one, like, pissed off, angry tear that she lets out. I'm like, oh!
And, like, the heavy breathing while she's dancing. She's like, oh God, it's over for me.
I'm gonna throw up!
yeah, literally.
But obviously, quickly, Anna and Vronsky start the whole affair.
And she, like, is able to keep it from her husband for a while because he is so involved in his job and shit that he doesn't even really see her much or talk to her. But he is kind of like, hey, people are saying shit. You just have to be careful about how you are portraying yourself. I trust you, but can you just stop being a whore? And she's like, you've got nothing to worry about. But she, like... right?
He's kind of like, he gives the impression that, like, he's like, if you want to keep this under wraps, I really don't care if this is the truth or not. As long as the way that we look is, like, fine. Just be, like, Shadi just being conspicuous.
Which is basically the core of this whole thing, is that they start this affair, but then she is slipping up and she gets pregnant. Again, the visual use of how often Jude Law loves to wear the condom, and she just wants to raw dog it with ATJ, and she's like, I'm gonna have your baby, we need to get married, basically, because we need to be together officially. And that's when it sort of all tumbles, because everyone else in high society was super into being speculators and gossipers about this relationship and were almost like urging her to kind of like poke in the bear. They were kind of like, ooh, this is everyone a spicy...
wants something to talk about.
But as soon as they officially on paper have broken that rule, cast out. You will not be sitting with us at the opera. You are not invited. We will ridicule you in public. So it is very much like, you can do it as long as it's a fun, gossipy secret. But as soon as you say the D word, divorce, it's like, you're fucked and a sinner.
Exactly. And that was sort of the start of this whole thing really begins with Aaron Taylor Johnson's mother. And she sat across from Anna on the train. Anna's on her way to see her brother and Dolly and everything like that. And ATJ's mother is like, she had some drama in her past and everyone knows it, kind of thing. But it's, she got past it. It wasn't anything cataclysmic. Like, Anna took like this one like cunty lady that she encountered and she said, wait, I'm gonna do that. She did not do it well.
No.
She did not understand the assignment whatsoever.
I'm gonna be you but worse.
I'm gonna be you but worse, and then I might kill myself about it.
Well, wait, did you notice, though, that both the fucking Harkonnen sisters from the Dune Prophecy show, that was Tula Harkonnen, and then the sister who played Valia Harkonnen were
Emily
both
Watson?
we're both in this fucking movie.
I didn't realize!
No, ATJ's mom is the one who plays her sister in the Dune show that I never fucking finished.
Oh,
but
that's a good clock. Did you?
But I clocked that, yeah. I was like, what? I was like, weird. And we also get the fucking... Shailene Woodley, what's his awful canceled? Ansel Elgort, Lovers in one movie, Siblings in another. Yes. The Lovers to Siblings pipeline of Fault in Our Stars to Divergent, clearly reflecting Mr. Matthew McFadden. Matthew McFadden. And Keira Knightley in this movie. I was like, oh, and now you're siblings.
I love it.
Okay, Joe Wright. Joe Wright keeping he said, my clique small, but we crazy.
And I love that. Perfect.
But basically then, it becomes public news that she's going to have his baby. And, she has the baby, but then she's going to die.
Yeah, she gets real sick. Jude Law says, what have I done?
He's like, I'm going to divorce you. And then she's like, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I'm about to die. This is really scary. She's like, I'll send him away. And basically Jude Law is the bigger person and is like, if you send him away, I will accept this child as my own and we can continue this marriage and we can just brush it all under the rug, like for the final fucking time, giving her the out. And then she gives birth to the baby. He takes it in. He gives it his last name, but then she lives. And she's like, I actually want to go see Aaron Taylor Johnson. And he's like, are you kidding me right now? And she's like, well, sorry. I thought I was going to die. She's like, I just said that because I thought it was over for me.
I thought it was over. I need that cock now.
And so he's like, okay, we can do the big D and get divorced, but you are out. You are out of here. You're not getting a penny from me and I'm taking the kids. And that's where she's kind of like, has that conflict, where I think, again, in the book, we maybe get more about like her relationship to motherhood, because she did seem like really close with her son, and that this was something that was really like holding her back.
But because here's the thing, at the same time, she does have that big conversation. I think the first time that she lets Jude Law know that she's having an affair, she's like, hey, I love Seriosha, but I won't live like this. I love my boy, but like I think that like is generally the phrasing, which I think probably I would love to read this book probably ahead of its time. The whole like you can love your child but still also love yourself and want to live your life. Yes,
and like want to reject the rigidity of the society. Right, especially as a woman. As a woman with BPD, sometimes you just don't feel super great about it.
And that's okay.
And that's when she starts hitting the bottle. And by the bottle, I mean morphine. She is...
Could you imagine what morphine must taste like? That was the thing that really, like, I sat with for a minute watching this.
Oh.
And, like you're mixing
ink.
it... You're mixing it with, like, brown liquor, too. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Oh, yeah. I'm imagining, like a cough syrupy, like, viscous, nasty. Laudanum. Not for me. I'm sleepy enough on my own. Thank you very much. Yeah, right. I don't need any assistance. But she's sort of in this huge spiral now where her life is in shambles. She can't even go out and do the things she used to like to do because all of her friends, all the other princesses are like, think she's the whore of the town. And then she starts to get really paranoid about Aaron Taylor Johnson cheating on her because she's like, every time you're going out and I have to stay home, I assume that something... infidelity, you're going out to the bar with your boys and they show us all the, the prostitutes flashing their panties and all the revelry of the Russian underbelly, whatever. And she's kind of like, I assume you're cheating on me because the foundations of this relationship are infidelity. So, if I did it to you, you can do, or if I did it, to my partner, you could do it to me kind of thing. And she sort of starts freaking out to the point where she's following him. And she's like, you say you're at your mother's, but I'm going to follow you to see if you're really at your mother's. And then it sort of reaches this point where she's like, at KMS, honestly, not even worth it anymore. Jumping in front of the train.
And that's exactly what she does.
She jumps in front of the train, ends her life, and then all is well for everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
Also, Aaron Taylor Johnson has to she has to shoot his horse at one point, which was a huge bummer.
Yeah, Frou, R.I.P. Frou. Yeah, I don't know. This honestly just felt like a very refreshing movie. I don't know why. I feel like I haven't watched anything periody lately. But it is sort of just like nothing happens. She's just nothing happens, but it's like, hey, you want to watch someone's life spiral? Here we go.
But it's gorgeous.
Exactly.
Gorgeous costumes, gorgeous set design.
You also get to watch Donald Gleason and Alicia Vikander's love story unfold, which I think is a really nice sort of through line. Which, like, you're watching Keira Knightley in just total despair for most of the movie. But also, look at these two young lovebirds.
Right, because eventually Alicia Vikander comes back around once she realizes it's not happening with ATJ. She's like, oh, the real guy who was going to treat me right was in front of me the whole time. And she basically, I think it's implied that some time passes, and she matures a little bit. And she, she says, I've changed a lot. And they basically, they text on the table. They like use these fucking blocks to be like, ILY. You too kind of a situation.
This is like how I came out to like my siblings.
Right, just like playing Scrabble. Like playing Scrabble. You're like, I can actually get a triple word score on that slur I just played if you catch my drift.
Yeah, right.
But basically, she's sort of like, I'm sorry, I was immature, and he's sort of like, I am still the same. My feelings have persisted. Offer still on the table. And then they move out to the countryside, and he basically sees how she's actually this really caring person who helps nurse his brother. Not not to health, but like in his final days of consumption or whatever. Yeah, basically. And also she was like super chill with his like not white girlfriend being around, and Donald Gleason was basically like, I will get that not white lady to leave. And Alicia Vikander's kind of like, whoa, don't be like that. We can deal. And it sort of is like, oh, you know,
Alicia
maybe
Vikander said my husband's a bigot.
Right. He's like, oh, she is not like the other girls. I had great judgment this whole time. And then they, you know, have a baby and he gets to be his farmer and sleep on top of the hay bales and all is well for them, so, you know, presumably. And we also kind of get the end of Matthew McFadden also sort of being like, even though I cheat on my wife all the time, shit's mad chill for me.
Yeah,
I guess.
Exactly. I do wish I got a little bit more of Matthew McFadden in this one, honestly. He's a scene stealer in just about everything, but he really did it for me in this one.
Oh, yeah, I loved the opening scene of, like, him running the, like, paperwork house. And that is where that moment where I said, oh, is this gonna be a musical? I was like, they were stamping like in such beat, like rhythm, and like everyone was moving. And at one point, somebody says something with a very "Hello, nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation." I was like, "Oh my god, are we about to break into song?" But no, it was just like very, I think, theatrical and musical, and that gave me that vibe because they were in, you know, the opera house or whatever. But I was like, "Are we singing right now?" But no, alas. No singing, which is actually, I was probably grateful for that. That would have been too much.
100%. I'm wondering do you think that a movie like this could be made today? Because this was what, 2012? 12? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
of
feel
course.
You feel like...
Well, I think anything could be made today if people put forth the originality, effort, and artistic vision, of course. I think I would like to not lose hope as AI continues to flood my fucking timeline.
It's horrifying.
I don't know if this is actually a solid piece of advice or not, but even engaging with the comments, right? So it's, for me right now, to take a step away from Anna Karenina to Studio Ghibli, it's all this Ghiblification AI. Apparently there's some new Ghibliify yourself with AI photo.
You bitches are about to make Hayao Miyazaki put a fucking gun in his mouth. Stop it.
Like, okay, first of all, you clearly have no media literacy because you don't understand the themes of his work. So congratulations on that. But also, I feel like, you know, people doing it and then somebody, you know, reposts it with the comment saying like, this is slop. Even engaging with that is still boosting. I am still having to see this shit all over my timeline, even though it's just people saying this is bad. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to engage with it. No. So stop. Oh, I saw somebody said that instead of calling it AI art, we should call it computer rendered artificial pictures crap,
something like that. Oh
right?
yeah,
like make up a new don't call it art, don't use the word art.
Yeah,
and like it's just, let's stop. I know I'm talking about it right now, but just like specifically like reposting that in any way is amplifying it. Millions of people are still seeing it, which is part of the problem. So let's just like also shame your friends who use it, please. Shame them, but just also tell them, be like, hey, do you know about the environmental impact of AI? And don't think, you know, tragedy of the commons. Everyone thinks, oh, well, if I just do it once or twice for shits and giggles, that's not making a difference. Everyone is doing that, and it's a fucking problem.
Yeah, it's like what? It uses like a bottle of water for like every question you ask or something like that. I couldn't imagine. Like, I've seen stuff that's talking about how OpenAI or whatever the one that people are using for the Ghibli stuff, it's like literally frying like the core of its processor or some shit like that. Like it's so scary, dude.
Yeah, we're really in the end days, and there's I fear there's no coming back from it. But in the, you know, back to Anna Karenina, I would like to hope that there is coming back from this, and that if we all do stop engaging with it, we let people know who are using it. That's not art. It's aggregating existing shit and putting it together. So no, that's not art. You didn't come up with anything new. It's fucking stupid and we don't respect it. Movies that are using it, I think it was like the main people who made Paddington are like spearheading a program which will be like the first AI like kids movie or whatever. No,
what?
We need to boycott that shit. Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm like, okay, yikes. But we need to boycott that shit. We need to let them know that it's not, we're not going to spend our money on it, that we think it's stupid. And I'm just like, I really fucking hope that this, what I perceive to be the general sentiment, because everyone I talk to in real life, maybe I just surround myself with people who have similar values as me, but everyone thinks it's scary and stupid. And it's also so tough that we can't even use the excuse that it looks like shit anymore, though, because it's looking better and better. It's starting to actually look pretty good.
Which is the whole thing, is that
really fucking scary.
The more you use it, the more, it's the whole fuck of it.
Of course, I think also everyone who's still with us here probably also shares the same values, but just continuing to support independent artists and shit that actually seems like it's made by people who care and give a fuck. And, I think we need to encourage people to not stop making real art.
100%.
Actually making real art, we need to be there for them to support them because that cannot go away. Like, they're so fucking important. But yeah, I do think something like this could be made today, yes, within the right circumstances, with the right, even maybe not something quite as grand as this, but somebody with a distinct vision. I think a lot of this is just in really clever cinematography, camera, the camera movements and stuff. Like, I do think something like this could be achieved without the extravagance and the budget that this movie probably had. I do think that there's a lot of inspiration to be taken from, the way that they distilled this 1,000-page dense novel into something so beautiful and commercially accessible.
Yeah. Honestly,
I want to have faith.
It was very palatable. I was really impressed by this just because it felt very maybe not out. I haven't watched a whole lot of other Joe Wright stuff, but this felt very like sort of outside of his wheelhouse a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, Atonement and Pride and Prejudice are gorgeous movies, but like we haven't seen like these sort of complex shots and like blocking and staging like this. Or at least I hadn't before I'd seen this movie. And just the overall, I guess, such specific design. I don't know. Like I do wonder if people are willing to let really well-known and like respected directors actually like take chances on things, because I mean we're gonna record Mickey 17 after this, and Bong Joon-ho, this is the first movie he did since after Parasite, and I think that he got the money and the creative direction that he was able, and the he was obviously able to do his thing, but it's considered a box office flop and a failure because, like, I don't know. I don't have maybe all of my words together.
I do think ultimately, though, I would say that it was a great movie, and it doesn't fucking matter if it flopped or not. They gave him that blank check, and he made something really fucking cool with it. And so, like, that's the energy we should try to have. It shouldn't be, again, about the return on investment. It should be about letting an artist say what they want to say, because ultimately that is how we're going to progress and change as a society, because you've got to make art to teach people about what the fuck is going on, right? Like,
I would be interested to see, like, actually what the return on this movie was, because like we said, out of all of the Joe Wright ones, I don't know that this is even really scratches the surface in terms of like his sort of films that get a lot of credit. And I do wonder if Mickey 17 will sort of get that same reception.
So not that anything should be judged on box office, whatever.
Absolutely.
But a budget of $40 million, which is pretty big, but in the grand scheme of things today is not outrageous for a movie. No. And box office pushing 70. So it did make back its budget. I guess it also, though, had a very long, intense filming. Like, it was like almost a year and a half of filming. They filmed in Russia for a lot of it, which was also, like, really, and that theater was an actual stage that they built, and those were real sets that they built, so obviously that takes a lot of time and money. And I just think if you are willing to invest in that sort of creative vision and the output is as spectacular as this, it shouldn't matter. I mean, of course you want to make your money back, but like you achieved what you wanted to achieve, and then the rest should just be, you should rely that, you know, the movie will impact people the way you hope it does.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not sure I was getting my thoughts across there, but
I know what you mean.
It's just, I mean, it's just the general, like, let directors direct and make the art that, like, they're hired to do.
No, and it's such a business. It's such a business now. Again, we live in a fucking capitalist hellscape.
Well, yeah, we're casting based off of Instagram followers.
Exactly, right? And again, with back to the Beatles of it all, right? Would they have given this movie the budget it got if they didn't cast 4 White Boys of the Month? If they didn't let a 14-year-old girl on Twitter pick the Beatles, like
exactly,
if they didn't cater to, you know, the money of it all, would we get something better? Yeah, probably. Duh.
And unfortunately, I don't think it's not enough that this is the same. It's the guy that did 1917, right?
Is it?
Right? I think so. Well, I'm so blanking on his name right now. Sam Mendes?
Let's see. Yeah, Sam Mendes. Wow, interesting. Yeah, and he's making all 4. See, I was under the impression for a while that it was going to be 4 directors working collaboratively but independently on the 4 different movies, because obviously he'll try to make them different, but like to get 4 very different visions, I'm like, that should be part of the sell. No?
Yeah. You would think.
Cost cutting, easier to hire 1 director to do 4 than 4 directors to do 4, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, April 2028, so you're gonna have to hear us bitch about this for the next 3 fucking years. And then you're gonna have to hear me bitch about it when I inevitably go see them. No.
Yeah, that'll be our month, our Beatles month. We go and see every single one of the fucking movies.
And I throw tomatoes the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And I am a Beatles fan. Don't get me, like, I love those boys. I hate that I love them, but I can't help it. So I feel overly qualified to say that I think this is ass. But
and, you know, maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I doubt it.
Doubtful. But you know what won't do me wrong is fucking Matthew McFadden in this movie.
Really? Okay, so do we want to pick 3 or is it just from everyone? Because I feel like the obvious big love triangle is Anna Karenina, her husband Alexei,
Alexei 1 and Alexei 2.
And then Alexei 2. So you got Jude Law. Jude Law, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have cheated on you. I wouldn't have done you dirty like that. It's okay that you want to schedule sex. I think that's fine.
I think, okay, well, I want to see if you agree with me. Anna, dead.
Yeah.
She scares the hell out of me. I don't want to know. I'd be scared to give her an orgasm.
Yeah, right? Because then she's going to show up at my workplace.
Exactly. Or, no, girl, I'm pushing you under the train immediately. And then who do you fuck? Who do you marry?
I marry, unfortunately, I do the stable thing. I marry Jude Law because I think he was, again, in the book, we probably get more of a reason why she was into leaving him, but he seemed pretty amicable. He was just like a little bit older, kind of a rule follower, invested in his work.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm assuming he pretty much left her alone a good chunk of the day.
Right.
And also, he doesn't seem to mind if you are fucking someone else on the side.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So ultimately, I'm also kind of a rule follower. I'm not gonna fuck up and spiral out. And you know what, Jude Law, bring out that reusable condom because Jude Law is fine as hell. So I'll marry Jude Law. I'll fuck ATJ. Not outside on a blanket. Bugs. Ew. We can do that somewhere respectable, my guy.
Yeah, please.
Also, why does your horse get to watch? Not into that. And yeah, I'll kill Anna. She's too much of a loose cannon for me.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 110% on this lineup.
From the whole movie, tough. A lot of hot people and also a lot of problematic people. Donald Gleason is a fair. He's really like one of our only like morally not fucked people here. but like ultimately maybe kind of boring. But I would like a nice house in the countryside, and my husband who's into labor rights, so I'll probably marry him. Yeah. I'm not so much into nursing the brother, but I'll maybe like I'll sing him a song or something. I'll bake him a tart.
Soup. Yeah, a tart.
I'm also fine with your not white girlfriend staying with us. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think I'll marry Donald Gleason. I'll probably still fuck Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he's just indisputably the hottest person in this movie.
We didn't even talk about the blonde of it all.
His sister or his cousin or whatever.
He's blonde.
He is. Well, but he's a brunette man that they slapped some box dye on him. So his eyebrows and mustache were still brown.
Okay, and that was fine for you?
That's it for me, because if you dye a brunette man blonde, he's still a brunette man. Ethically, yeah, fair. And like just face wise, like that's not a blonde guy.
Okay, I see. So yeah, okay. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it didn't bother me here, but yeah, to get me to be into a blonde guy is tough. But I would say I saw right through it. I saw right through that wig. You know,
sure. Who are you? Sorry, who are you killing?
I'm gonna kill fucking Matthew McFadden's bitch wife.
That's perfect. No. Take her out so I can fuck him, because that's...
No, I'm gonna kill the bitch who slighted Anna at the opera, the one who is like to her husband, like, don't give her your pamphlet.
Yeah, Moaning Myrtle?
What, really? Was that her? Oh my god. Yeah, I knew I heard that shrill voice.
I said, I know her from anywhere. Yeah, that's a good one to kill too.
She pissed me off.
I am gonna kill Cara Delevingne, because I think she just annoys me generally. And I do not think that she should have been in the Lucy Dacus Mask music video. So this is more of a slight to Cara Delevingne instead of her character in this. Yeah, I'm easily fucking Matthew McFadden, and I would love to settle down in the countryside with Donald Gleason. I would tend I'd have a little garden over there. The house was beautiful and gigantic. I'm happy.
I would also be like, can I get out there and try the scythe? I'm like, can he teach me how to mow? I'd be like, I'm down to mow, maybe just once or twice a week, but I'm like, I'll get out there too in the sun.
You'll get buff as fuck, dog.
And honestly, I was just saying we couldn't fuck outside, but on top of one of those hay bales, they made that shit look so comfortable. I'm like, there's no way. It wasn't itchy as fuck.
Oh yeah,
you sleeping on top of that thing.
Yeah.
But it looked lovely, so maybe we can have a little romp in the hay bales.
I need my man to love me as much as he loves hers, and like out there sleeping on the hay bale just to watch her drive by.
Real yearners know.
Oh my god, I've started a list. I've started a new list on Letterboxd recently called "Men Who Are Lesbians," and I think I have to add this to that list. Actually.
Who else are some men who are lesbians? Can you hit me with
the only other thing I've got on there right now is Moonstruck, because I would consider Nicolas Cage in that movie as a lesbian.
Lesbian behavior. That's hilarious. I know, I was gonna say, that's not gonna be a very beefy list. That's very few and far between.
I think maybe Patterson.
Because is this based on the conversation about that Lucy Dacus made about Hosier? That
no, I don't know what you're talking about.
There's this something about the two of them collaborating together, or her just like citing him as an artist, and she was just talking about him, and she was like, oh well, just like the music he makes clearly reflects how much he loves women, and like it's about people who make art about women, and like plenty of people who are attracted to women don't actually love and respect women,
Oh yeah.
Like there are also plenty of lesbians who don't actually love women, you know what I mean? Like that sort of, I don't know, but Hosier being cited as, male lesbian basically, because people who actually just like are super pro, not just feminist, but like clearly have a deep love and respect for
women generally,
women in general, which is like actually probably less common. Like there are plenty of straight men and lesbians who just actually don't truly respect women.
Yeah. No, Hosier would definitely fit into this list. But yeah, if anyone wants to hit the swamp inbox with some suggestions, I would love a little bit of help growing this this list right now.
Wait, also hit the swamp inbox with just about anything. I wanted to shout out we get these little there's like a Q&A box on Spotify that just says what movie, but I've told you can put anything in there. And Lena just said hi recently. I was like, thank you. Honestly, and I needed that. Just hit me with a what's up, with a hey.
Hell yeah.
A movie suggestion, but maybe, an emoji, just whatever you want to say. I gleefully accept all of it. So thank you, Lena, and hi back to you. Much love.
Hello. What are you eating and drinking with this?
Food and drink. So immediately I was like, Russia, we got to go vodka. But then I felt like Aaron Taylor Johnson in his blondness is giving me like a fruity and lemony. So he's like sort of a little lemony. I'm like, what goes good with lemon? Raspberries. So I found a cocktail that's just vodka and Aperol with then a raspberry lemon syrup. And then you add an egg white, which I was always averse to. But recently I had a cocktail that had the egg white. And I forgot that foam on the top is actually pretty fucking fire. It
really does do a lot.
I like reading it freaks me out, but then actually consuming it, I'm like, ooh, I like this. So yeah, a vodka Aperol raspberry lemon situation I think would be nice and light and fruity and still a vodka-y. And then similarly, I was like, I feel like you need to have like a pastry or like a dessert. This is a very like rich and indulgent movie, so I wanted like but then I was searching of like historically accurate Russian pastries and all of it was not hitting with me, so I just based it on what I thought would go good with the cocktail. Please. So you do an almond raspberry cheesecake bar, just like a
that's hot. That's really hot, Dara.
Really just like, again, rich and indulging in my passions for dairy. And again, I think the like lemony fruitiness is, very akin to the visual style of this film, but yet still very, heavy and a treat, if you will. Absolutely. What about you?
I honestly, again, I felt really stuck on Matthew McFadyen this watch. Honestly. As you should.
His mustache, men take notes. All the mustaches and facial hair in this movie, chef's kiss. Even there was a guy whose mustache went into his like mutton chop sideburns.
Love that shit.
I'm not seeing enough of that from you, boys.
Yes. Let's get fucking weird on it this year, boys.
Get creative with your facial hair.
Yeah, please.
My tip.
If you're not going to do anything fun with your hair, at least give me a funky mustache. Thank you.
Or if you can grow it, the guys who have just these huge fucking thick full beards that they are unkempt and unstyled and I'm like, it's a gift that you can produce that much beardage. I need you to do something with that shit. Don't just let it scraggle out, my guy.
For real.
Because I wish I could have a beautiful little, I'd be curling the tips with wax and shit.
Trust me, the things that I would do if I could grow a mustache, I would just have a handlebar for a week. Why not?
Right? Try out a goatee. It's probably not going to work, but I'm going to respect you for trying.
Give it a go. Yeah, but I just want to hang out with Matthew McFadyen this whole movie, honestly, and I decided that I want to do, like, I think it is a traditional Eastern European, maybe Russian thing. It's the vodka with the pickle. So I think you sit there and you have just a little vodka, sipping it, eating your pickle, doing that. But I would actually love to have a nice crispy latke watching this movie. And then we get real savory with it, real starchy.
Love.
A little vodka, some pickle juice. A thick
dollop of sour cream.
Yeah.
Maybe like a dill pickle sour cream on your latke.
Exactly. You're seeing the vision. Yeah. I want to bro out with Matthew McFadyen, and then we get to kiss afterwards. So.
And then he plays hide the pickle.
Exactly. Yeah. And do you have a movie you want to follow this up with? Because at least for me, the first thing that jumps to my mind is like stylized Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, that's a great, like beautiful sets and
also
another stacked cast. And also Jude Law.
Exactly. Our through man.
We love it. No, my immediate jump was just Anastasia. We just covered it a couple weeks ago.
True
I fucking
enough.
love that movie. And if nothing else, just watch into what's the Rasputin song, In the Dark of the Night.
Yeah.
Just watch on YouTube In the Dark of the Night, the Rasputin song. That's about what I need from this. But if we're staying in like Russian history kind of vibes, I am always wanting to watch Don Bluth. Anastasia.
Yeah.
Bartok. I wish Bartok was here doing commentary.
I will also say, alternatively, you could just read Hedda Gabler or watch any Hedda Gabler adaptation. Feels kind of right to me.
A troubled woman.
Yeah, watch that bitch die on the piano.
I've actually never seen any stage production. I've only read it in like school, but I've never seen any sort of visual adaptations of Hedda Gabler, like screen or stage. So I probably should, because I remember really enjoying reading it.
That was one of the ones that sticks out to me is I really enjoyed in my later high school literacy education. But yeah, I also can't say that I've ever watched a full Hedda Gabler adaptation or anything like that. But I've seen clips and everything like that, and there's definitely been some real famous ones. But yeah, I would certainly love to see that put on.
And that's it. Hey, thanks for listening.
That's the podcast.
Hey, wow. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you are a patron, we will be late covering Mickey 17, but we'll be putting that up very shortly. If you want to check that out on the Patreon, if you're not a patron, it's just $2.86, and you'll get the back catalog. We've been trying to cover like newer stuff. So I think we have Nosferatu on there. We've got, as stuff comes out, we try to do that more on the Patreon. So you can see what that's all about. We also sometimes just do bullshit episodes where we just like shoot the shit and gab.
Yeah.
And thank you to all who are supporters, and thank you to all who have listened this far. We love you. Make sure to send us in not just your period piece recommendations, but also other month themes, movies you like, stuff that you're looking forward to that's coming out, whatever. Also TV that you're watching. We love to consume a media. If you're reading the new Hunger Games book, I'm about maybe I'm like 150 pages in right now, so it's just really starting to get good. Literally my eyes were like getting heavy last night, and I was like, no, I want to keep reading, I need to keep reading, but I was like, no, I'm so sleepy.
No, she's a good one with what is it, every chapter is a cliffhanger, so
right. But yeah, I'm hoping to rip through the rest of that in the next couple of days. So let me know who you think they should cast for Hey Mitch, but obviously the answer is an unknown.
Obviously.
Oh my god, all the fan casts I've been seeing of these 30-year-old men.
Enough.
What's wrong with you?
What is
wrong with you?
16-year-old boy. It has to be a 24-year-old at the max.
Yeah. And even then, not chill.
Pushing it.
But anyways, goodbye, good night, have a wonderful rest of your week.
Mwah. Okay.